My name is Watson.
And my name is Mariah.
We're 12 years old.
And we're representing Old Redford Academy Middle School.
And we're here to talk about drugs.
Drugs are very dangerous and unhealthy.
And they can also ruin a relationship with your loved ones. Go talk to a family member, a friend, even a teacher, or you can go to a therapist, or if you need any extra help, you can go online and find all of those.
Hashtag not worth it.
I'm fabulous. Hi, Mommy. Hi, Daddy. I'm fabulous.
Young cat got back, did a little bit. Now we hardy, puffy, tough, do-rag and Tim's. Kinda hard to get a job back out on the block.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Expose Under the Sun, brought to you by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. I am your guest host, Darwin Griffin, and I am so pleased that Sharon Dumas gave me an opportunity to go and be on the air today. But I've got a guest that I feel that everybody needs to hear what she has to say. And also, if you've got some other people that are there that are watching something else on TV, ask them to sit down and sit and join this, because I think you're going to get a lot of good information from my special guest today. But without further ado, let me bring in my special guest. Her name is Ida Bird Hill. Ms. Hill, it is a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you for inviting us. We're glad to be here.
Well, without further ado, Ida, can you pretty much tell our viewing audience and our listening audience, what is Uplift Incorporated?
Uplift Inc. is a tech diversity and inclusion firm. One of the things that we noticed in the last 20 years is, even though the tech revolution has been raging on, very few people of color are employed or even receive contracts in that industry. So we decided a few years ago that we had a nonprofit that we always considered an idea incubator to turn it into a tech diversity and inclusion firm to actually see how we can break people into that industry.
Okay, and our show is live, and if you would like, and you've got a question that you'd like to ask Ms. Hill, you can go on our website. Our website is www.tv33whpr.com, and if you want to call in, you can call in at area code 313-868-0342, 868-0351, or 868-4336. So if you have a question for Ms. Hill, you can call in, and if you want to go in and also make a comment and you're not able to get through, you can also go on my Facebook Live page, and you can ask the question on my Facebook Live page. And just wanted to say, I see my first one that popped up was Denise Sims. Good afternoon, Denise. And I look forward to going and seeing you in the near future. But Ida, again, now, what is Automation Works for you?
Automation Works is one of our largest projects today. And being a tech and diversity inclusion firm, we've been experimenting with a lot of different projects to see how do we get individuals to have the skills that are necessary to go into the tech industry. One of the reasons why we're not in the industry is because they feel like we don't have those skills. You can either do computer programming in the industry, which means you're developing websites and mobile apps. You can do computer networking, which means you're programming routers and switches that power the internet. You can do data, which means you're analyzing the data that's coming off the internet and all of the different websites to see what insights you can do to sell things. And then lastly, you can do cybersecurity, which means you're stopping hackers from taking over websites or emails or and developments and et cetera. So what we did is, with Automation Works for You, we created a trade school where you can go get this training. But what we did differently, most times when you go get training, you have to pay a fee. You go to a community college or you go to a four-year university. Our program, Automation Works for You, is free of charge. It runs through the public library system, Detroit Public Library. Right now we're in 6 branches throughout the city, and people are attending those classes for free. Right now they're on a track for what we call the Cisco Certified Networking Associate. Those individuals make anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000, and they're putting together the programming for the internet. So they're doing programming routers, they're programming switches, they're programming different devices to make sure that the internet runs smoothly for whether a company, whether it's small or large or homes, but mainly mostly corporations. And so we're providing that service for free, and we want people to come out to the class. We started that project December 27th, 2017,
Okay.
launching with Kwanzaa. We thought it was pretty apropos because in order to have self-determination, you need to be able to have skills. This 21st century is all about skills. And one of the things that's happening with us in the African American community, we're not understanding that this is the century of skills. Your worth and what you're going to do is going to come out of your brain. It's what can you do for someone else that they can pay for. And right now, technology has gone across all industries. It's not just an industry by itself. It's in healthcare, it's in construction, it's in manufacturing. I mean, everywhere you go, there's technology, and it's just growing like a weed. So if you have those skills in that industry, we believe you're always going to have employment. And if you decide you don't want to work for somebody, you can go work for yourself and be an entrepreneur. But you have the skills to be able to do that.
And they can take these skills that they would learn from your program, and they could go all over the country, if not all over the world.
All over the world. And the beautiful thing about it, because we are what we call a Cisco Networking Academy, Cisco is a very large corporation in Silicon Valley. And for the last 20 years, they've been running this training program all over the world. Ironically, they've trained 8.2 million people across the world, but 6.9 million of them have been outside of the United States. They've been of Asian culture, they've been of African culture, they've been of Hispanic culture. But in the United States, they don't have a lot of people of color who are involved in their training. And so what we're trying to do is break down those barriers. And so our program is a little unique. It's one of the first in the country that is situated within a library system. So instead of going into a community college or going into a campus, we're across an entire library system, and you can go to one of the branches and you're going to get assistance from one of our instructors during the branch.
So it just makes it so easy for somebody to just go to one of the local branches
Absolutely.
and get the information.
Absolutely. And that's what we're trying to do is we want to make it easy. Because what we do is most of the curriculum, instead of having books, is on the computer. So they can use a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, a desktop to do their work, but then they can do these labs that are simulation labs, and that's what our instructors help them with the lecture and with the labs at the library. So, and it's free of charge. Now, the irony of it all, and I do have to say the irony because it is an irony, when someone gives you something that's for free that normally will cost you $6,000, you would think we would have an onslaught of people who are taking advantage of it. But we notice that we do, but that's for those who are above the age of 40. Mm-hmm. We don't have a lot of young people, 16 to 24, who are participating, which brings me concern because that group of young people have the highest unemployment of any age bracket in America. You would think they would be looking for whatever's going to get them employment and that they would gravitate to something that's free because, as I said, the program normally, if you were to take it, is $6,400 a person, and we are, with great pains, are giving it to you for free. So we were expecting that they would be involved, but we're not seeing a lot of young people involved, and that kind of bothers me a little bit.
Why do you think that?
I think part of it is because they know it's hard, and it is anything you learn new, it's hard. We have a saying that the word FAIL is an acronym. It stands for First Attempt in Learning. It's going to be hard because anything you learn new is hard. You learn a new foreign language is hard because it's just something new. Well, computers are a language. So when you first learn it, it is difficult. But what we've tried to do is with the first couple classes to make them a little easier so to be easy as an on-ramp to get you into the industry so that when you start to get into the certification process, you're breezing through it rather than going through the difficulties. And we've had our first cohort, as I said, started in December. They took our first class, which was called the Introduction to the Internet of Things. And what the Internet of Things is that everything that we have is powered on the Internet, whether it's smartphones, PlayStations and video game consoles, refrigerators, stoves, all type of devices are on the Internet. And they call that the Internet of Things. And so everybody needs to know about the Internet of Things because it's powering our world today. And so to not know about it is just terrible because you don't know what jobs are coming available because you don't even know where that Internet of Things is going in the next 20 years. So what we're saying to people, go and take that first class. It explains to you where the industry is going, explains to you what the Internet of Things are, and so that you can see where the future is going next 20 years from now. Because the future is here whether you want to admit it or not. Like this morning, Quicken Loans or Bedrock Management announced that self-driving shuttles, they're going to be shuttling their employees back and forth with buses that have no drivers. Now, we talk about the self-driving car all the time, but that's not where the activity is going to be. The activity is going to be with self-driving trucks and self-driving buses because right now there's a shortage of truck drivers. So if I can satisfy my shortage with having a no driver, then you know I'm going into that very quickly because we make money off of trucks. So this morning, Bedrock announced that it's going to be shuttling employees back and forth with the self-driving shuttle. That's the future that's here today. You got to know why it's here and how do you benefit from it. First of all, while we may have eliminated a driver, you didn't eliminate the mechanic who's going to fix the car. You didn't eliminate the computer programmer who programs that self-driving shuttle to move from point A to point B. Those type of activities and new technology bring jobs. But it has to have people who have skills to understand what is happening in the industry so that they can benefit from all of the new technology that is coming online because it brings new jobs with it.
So how long is the course?
Well, the first course, the Introduction to the Internet thing, is 6 weeks. Then it's followed by a second course called the Introduction to Cybersecurity. Now, I love that course because right now, we're having hacks all over the world. But some of the hacks are not just people here in the U.S. Right now, because we announced tariffs against China, we're in what we call a cyber warfare that's just ultimate.
Right.
Because they have launched war. It used to be that you shoot a nuclear weapon across the country or you shoot airplanes out of the sky. Now that's not the warfare we're having. We're shutting down businesses. We're shutting down websites. We're tangling up your internet. It's called cyber warfare. Well, there are so many jobs in cyber warfare because there's not that many people.
Right.
And so this course, Introduction to Cybersecurity, introduces you to what that whole cybersecurity world is like, what type of people we're looking for, what type of skills you got to have. Because at the end of the day, the person needs to be able to outthink a hacker, which means it's like playing chess. You got to know 3 steps ahead in order to outthink them.
Right.
And so that course kind of prepares you for that, and it's also 6 weeks. When people finish that course, now they get ready for certification. So they go through 2 more courses, the Intro to Networking, which is about 12 weeks, and then Routing and Switching, which is another 12 weeks. At the end of those 2 courses, they're now ready to take their industry exam. When they take that exam, they now are qualified to work a job that's $50,000 to $75,000 a year. That to me is wonderful because that's way beyond what you would get if you were in college. But you didn't have to go to college to do that. Those careers, we call those careers the IT professional trades. They need a training class and an industry certification. And they are looking for so many people because they're in such high demand. And this is an opportunity for those who are people of color to be able to get into that tech industry because it doesn't require a college degree. It requires training and an actual certification exam that they take.
So a person then using their phone can take this course at the luxury of their home
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
without even have to leave home to take these classes. And still, so the course would last to go through the entire process of the course would take about how long?
About 9 months. About 9 months. 9 months. And we've kind of made it easy because while we do have physical locations at the branch, we have lectures that are virtual as well, twice a week for those who can't make it to the branch or who don't want to go to the branch, but they rather do it virtually. So they meet with one of me or a couple other instructors, and they get to ask questions. They go through a lecture about their class material. So, no, they never have to leave home. But that's just the way of the world. I mean, that's been going on for a little bit. I did some training for AT&T and SiriusXM, and I tell people one of the classes I had 100 people across the country. I have never seen them face-to-face physically. I've seen them online physically, where I'm talking through them through the internet. That's just the way that training happens today. It saves companies expense, it saves them lots of money, and I'm able to handle a lot bigger class because they're online. That's just the nature of the new beast. And so what I'm trying to do is to get the people of color, particularly African Americans, Hispanics, and Native Americans, to understand this is the new world, and you need to come into the new world order if you're going to be successful in the new world order. But there are jobs. But I keep hearing people say, oh, there's no jobs. There are 14,000 IT jobs within the borders of the city of Detroit alone.
Now, explain to some of our viewers, what do you mean when you say IT jobs?
IT jobs could be a computer programmer, which means that they're programming websites and mobile apps. Or it could be a computer networker, that they're actually programming routers and switches that make the basis of the internet.
Okay.
Or it could be somebody who's a data scientist, a data analyst who's analyzing data that is coming off these websites and off the internet. Or it could be somebody who's looking at the quality and make sure the websites have the quality and excellence that you want. And lastly, somebody who's a cybersecurity professional who's trying to protect the sites from being hacked. So it could be any one of those 5 categories, but it didn't really matter which one, pick one, because each one of them are growing like a weed. Right now, the state of Michigan, because of self-driving cars, need about 1 million cybersecurity professionals. That's a lot of people. So when people say there's no jobs, I'm going, there's jobs. The problem is that people don't have the qualifications for the jobs that are here. And what we're trying to do is to open the doors so that people can go get the qualifications the easiest way possible so that they can be able to tap into those jobs and make that money.
What are the qualifications?
Pretty much, you get the training and you get an industry certification exam. And so pretty much the exam is the credential. So normally, if you went to a 4-year institution, you go 4 years and get your training at the university, and you get a diploma. Well, this one you go to a trade school and get your training, and you go take an exam and you get a certificate. That certificate, that exam, is what powers you into the industry. The more certificates, the more you move up the chain, the more money you make. This particular class, who's taking the intro to networking, was blessed because Cisco provided us mentors from all across the country that were people of color, and mainly women of color, because a lot of our students are women, so that they get to see what our tech people are across the country. And I'm going to tell you what we learned. First of all, these people are making a lot of money. One of our mentors had gotten an offer from a headhunter to make $150,000, and he just chuckled because he's not moving unless he gets $250,000, because he's making $220,000. He only has a certificate. He actually has 4 of them, but nonetheless, that's better than having a college degree.
Right.
So what we're trying to tell people is that since the network is already there, the academy and the curriculum has already been developed, take advantage of it while it's free. Because for us, we go through great pains to get funding to make it free, and while we're getting the funding, we want people to take advantage of it. Don't walk around and say there's no job. It requires you're going to have to put forth some effort. But what has happened, we've gotten accustomed to thinking that we can go into a plant and screw on a rigid with no skills and make $50,000. That day has been gone for 30 years. Today's plant is highly robotic. No one's going to put you over $1 billion robot and you have no training. So for a lot of people who think that they're going to go into a plant and make $50,000, $60,000 with no skills and no training, you can forget it, because it's not happening. Let's get some skills and let's move forward, because in today's plant, they're having billion-dollar robots, and I'm not going to put an unskilled person over $1 billion robot.
Oh, right, right.
Just not going to do it.
Now, Ida, explain, what is Gameworks?
Gameworks is a new project that we are actually launching because, as I said, I'm not getting a lot of 16 to 24-year-olds to apply to our program. I know they're tech savvy because they play video games.
Right.
They play so many video games. You know, GameStop has stores all over the hood, all over America, because people of color are buying video games. So what we decided to do was to see if we would create a product or project that will utilize their skills in video gaming and let it meet IT. So we call it Esports Meets IT Training, Gameworks. Now people go, what is esports? Esports is a live video game competition that people are playing for cash. Now, if I'm playing video games all day and somebody tells me that the prize is cash, and then I can become a professional to earn cash, I will become a professional if that's what I like to do.
So people that play these PlayStation and Xbox games and things like that, now they could then learn how to play specific games and make and win cash.
Oh, they're making lots of cash. Right now, even the Detroit Pistons have a new team. Their team is that plays NBA 2K Live, and they're professionals. And they're a Detroit Pistons team. There are teams all over the world, and they're competing. Like the one young man, he's 17 years old, Syed, last year in 2017 made $1.8 million in prizes playing video games.
You said 1.8 million?
Yes, 1.8 million. Yes, I said that. 1.8 million.
And you say the ages for those individuals could be, you said, from like 13 to, I'm sorry, from 16 to 24?
Yes, yes. And so what we're trying to do is to get people to start looking at, you're playing video games all day. Let's move into that esports arena and make some money being a professional playing video games. Now, with anything else, it requires discipline. Syed, I had a chance to meet him. He's a very interesting young person. He practices his video game 9 hours a day, every single day. It's a job for him. So is it by any stretch of imagination that he could win 1.8 million? No, because he practices just like a job. He gets up practicing, he goes to bed practicing. It's a job for him. And so he can compete because he's putting in the effort to make sure that he's competition worthy. So it's not that you're just going to play an hour here, an hour there. You're going to have to put some discipline into it because the people that you're playing against all over the world are very disciplined. And so what we want people to do is to take that video gaming that you already are doing and you're doing well and come to us and play our video game competition, Gameworks. Because what we're going to do in the competition, the game that you're playing, is going to teach you a computer programming language at the same time. So you're going to compete for some cash, but you're going to also walk away with some computer programming skills at the same time.
So if someone was interested, Ida, in being involved with your program, what's the contact information?
Well, the first thing that we would like to do is that if they're interested in the gaming, that for 1624, we want those people to go to Gameworks with a Z, .guru, and that's GAMEWORKZ .guru, GURU, and go on and check that out and see what that whole Gameworks is about and what esports is about. If you're purely interested in our class, you can go to autoworks.org, and that's AUTOWORKZ.org. And that's AutoWorks again, AUTO works, WORKZ.org. And just go online and register. We're taking registration for the next class, which is September the 11th. That's when it begins. And we're looking forward to being able to service as many people as possible.
So what are some of the obstacles that you may be going through right now?
Our obstacle is funding. I mean, let's be honest, because people don't believe that black people are going to go into the tech world. So when you say that you need money to train black people, I'm going to tell you point blank what they tell you. That's not happening. And so what we're doing is we're looking for funding. We're beating the pavement all day. We just recently launched a crowdfunding campaign to ask the community to invest in ourselves. Sometimes we need to not ask other people. We need to take advantage of our own community and says we're going to invest in our own children, we're going to invest in our own future, and we're going to give $5, $10, $20, $30, $1,000, whatever, to invest in our own community. Other communities do it all day. We need to invest in ourselves so that we can propel things for ourselves. So we're running an actual crowdfunding campaign right now, and if you go to gameworks.guru, you can see all of the information about that campaign. And we're asking people, give us $5, give us $10, give us $20, because those dollars add up. So far, we've had community give us about $1,500. We have about 15, 16 more days in the campaign, and we're trying to raise $100,000. What does that do for me? That allows me to train 1,000 young people. So my thing is, come on, community. You say you don't want them breaking into your house. You don't want them stealing from you. Then get them some training so they have a job, so they don't have to steal from you. And that's what we're trying to do, is that if we want to make our community safe, we're going to have to give young people some alternatives. And that alternatives is the tech industry. There are jobs.
So if you've got that young daughter or that young son that likes to sit at home playing video games, this person can then go and take that skill that he or she has on the video game,
Yes.
and use that to go and earn a decent wage, because you say they can start out making how much?
$50,000.
And parents, I know that's not, some parents may not even be making that much money.
And we'll
you
even
know.
take parents, because our oldest student right now is 69 years old. So we're not limited by age. So what we want is people that if you want an opportunity, this is an opportunity to have a free opportunity, because we're not charging you for the classes. Normally the classes, when you get Cisco Networking Academy classes, you're going to pay $6,400. We're giving the classes for free because we're trying to make a point that black people do have the skills to make it in technology, and that we're going to help usher them into technology. Because remember I said we're a tech diversity and inclusion firm. We're trying to break people into the industry. So this is our attempt to be able to break them into the industry. It's our labor of love, and we want people to take advantage of it while it's here. But what we need is people to step out and register. Now, I have some people say, well, I'm not really good in school. Well, that's okay. I've had a couple people take the first class, Intro to IoT, 3 or 4 times. I don't really care. My thing is, if you got to take it 3 or 4 times just so you can get through the material, you didn't have to pay for it, so why not? That's why it's free, so that you have no barrier in order to do that, in case you do need to take it more than once to get through the material. But the point is, we believe that there's first attempts in learning, there's no failure, and if it is, it just means it's your first attempt in learning. Try it again.
So for those individuals then that may not have the aspiration to want to go on to college to become a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, This individual then, or even in some cases, to go to the trade schools to get a skilled trades expertise, they could then go and take these classes at the local library. They can go and look through the coursework on their telephone or a laptop or a tablet. And I mean, you can't ask for anything easier.
You can, and then the beautiful part about it, because Cisco Networking Academy has been around for 20 years, once they take the classes, if they decided they wanted to go back to college, they're transferable to college because they're in most of the colleges already. So they'll take the credit from our trade school and move it on to college, and you already have credit moving forward. So it's a win-win for the community. I just want the community to take advantage of it. Is to go out and take advantage of it and be able to utilize it to better your life. I also want the community, those who have money, to invest in your own community. Stop complaining about what people aren't doing and do something. Invest in it. If you want to see return on your dollar, put it into Gameworks.guru and invest in our program, because we're going to invest it in the community.
Well, in the few minutes that we have left, ask our viewers, what is it that you need to help you that can go and help a lot of our people of color that may be looking for employment in the future?
Well, what I'm looking for is that in the future, everything is moving heavy duty to technology. And it's going to get even more entrenched. We're going to have stores with no people. Right now, Amazon is experimenting with a store that has no cashiers. You walk in a store, when you walk in, your smartphone will tell them who you are based on your Amazon account. You go in, you buy your items. When you leave, it recognizes your account and it bills you accordingly. That's just the way of the world. We're going there very fastly. What we need is the people to understand and to look at, and when you're on the internet, to look at and see where is the world going. And if you're not quite sure where to look, always go look at the Asian countries, because they're always 20 years ahead of us. Because that's where we're going, and that's where the jobs are. So if you know where we're going, you can now prepare yourself with the training that you need to get to the end goal. And right now, everything is moving in technology.
Can you give that contact information again?
Yes, you can go to Gameworks.guru, and that's GameWorkz.guru, or you can go to our training site, which is autoworks.org, AUTOWORKZ.org.
And if the person wanted to donate money to, for funding, what would they do?
They can go online to both of those sites, because we're electronic. We don't just teach technology, we live by it. So we accept all electronic donations. We even accept cryptocurrency, because we had a couple of Bitcoin millionaires give us Bitcoin. We'll take it all. Or they can also call me at 313-444-4885, and we'll meet you to be able to collect those donations as well.
Ida, it has been a pleasure having you on the show today. I think that our time is up, but I wish that you would come back in the future, to go and enhance some of the knowledge that you gave to our viewing audience today.
Oh, I would love to, because I love technology. I just believe that it's the way for us to be able to enrich our community, and that we can make a lot of money if we just get involved in the technological revolution.
Great. You have been watching Expose Under the Sun, which has been brought to you by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. I, again, am your guest host. My name is Darwin Griffin. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, or you'd like to advertise in the Detroit Native Sun newspaper, that can now be picked up in Kroger supermarkets.
Oh, wow.
You can call Valerie Lockhart at area code 313-457-5944. And we will look forward to you joining us again next week, same time, same station, and stay safe, be blessed, and we love you, and you can't stop us from loving you.
I'm fabulous. Hi, Mommy. Hi, Daddy. I'm fabulous.
Young cat got back, did a little bit. Now we hardy, puffy, tough, do-rag and Tim's. Kinda hard to get a job back out on the block. Charge that to